Hello, I'm Erin Halvorsen with Rag Rugs by Erin, and today we're going to be filming how to make a rag rug using sheet yarn, and we're going to be making a bone dog placemat today. I've had several requests to put together a video on this, and videos take a lot of time to make them so I can teach them. I can make a lot of things, but in order to make it simplistic enough to teach, sometimes that takes quite a while. So anyways, I've got this together, and this is what we're going to be making. Something like that, okay? And partway through the filming, we'll switch over after we get it going to here so I can talk to you more about how to continue with this shape. So let's put these to the side, and I'm going to finish with that rug and talk about our tools. So our tools today, we're going to be working with the sheet yarn, of course, anywhere from 1.5 inches to 3-inch sheet yarn you can be using. This is probably 2.5, I'm thinking. This sheet yarn that I worked on, this one that I would continue to work on, is anywhere from 2 to 3 inches sheet yarn. I'm using a 12 hook today. You can find this on my website. This is a 14 millimeter or 16. These would work also, even going to possibly one of my 11s or something like that. It depends on how low profile you want the rug to be, so that's really up to you. You're also going to need a good pair of scissors. You're going to need a tapestry needle or a yarn needle in order to finish the rug. That's a number 13. Make sure that it's metal. And then this time I use stitch markers. You can find these on my website, but you can get them anywhere. You don't have to come to my website to get them, but I do sell them because some people do incorporate that with when they're buying hooks or something else. So you can even use safety pins. I don't use safety pins anymore because I nearly have poked myself a few times, so that's why I'm using stitch markers. And you don't need a lot of those, but it does make it more helpful in marking your work. So we're going to jump right in and get started. So Lyle, if you could come around, and we'll go ahead and... All right, so with all my rugs, we talk about having a long tail so you can incorporate it back into your rug. We're not going to start by incorporating because it makes it too bulky, and I will show you partway through where to incorporate it. And so let's go ahead and get started. You're going to do a slip knot. And I'm going to do it fairly quickly on my beginner rug or even on my single crochet and double crochet that you can find. I do it really slow and a lot of my other ones, but since I'm moving along, I'm going to do it kind of on the quick side. There's more than one way to do this. This is how I do it. You cross over with the long end. You place it through the hole and then kind of hold with the other. I do it left hand because I'm right-handed, and then kind of just pull that. Let's do it one more time. You're going to cross over with the long end, push the material through, hold the two pieces, and pull it through. Don't make it too tight. Some of you get a little excited there and make things too tight, so let's not. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put the hook that you've chosen in here. You're going to tighten it up a little bit, but not real tight. You remember you have to have it loose enough so you can go back into these stitches, so you don't want to make it too tight. And then the hand that you're crocheting with, that you're holding the hook in, you're going to also hold your tail. We're going to start with 12 single crochets, and you could do lots of different numbers. These are the ones that I came up with and that seemed to work well with me. I experimented with some different things. Depending on the size of the dog you're making for, you can make adjustments based upon. But 12 chain stitches. I don't know if I said single crochet, but I meant chain. So we're going to start with 12 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stop right there for a second. See how it's nice and uniform? Okay, not too tight. That's the biggest problem I have when I teach a class. When someone really struggles, it's because they try to make things too tight. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. Now in the 12th, see how that looks? Pretty uniform. Not perfect, but pretty uniform. You're going to take one of the stitch markers and you're going to put it in the, right here, okay? So we're working on the center of the bone. I'm going to show you. This is what we're working on, the center of the bone. Now we're going to go up into one of the ends. I did some different numbers. I tried some different things. I decided 7 was a good number for me. You can do different things which works for you. So you're going to do, now that you've marked that, you're going to do 7 more chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there's the first. A lot of you need this, and so if you don't, that's I'm sorry, but I do need to show. Now, so what we did, this was the center, and now we just did this part. Okay, this part of the bone. So then you're going to come back down, and you're going to now start your single crochets. You always work from right to left if you're right-handed. So you go into here. You can't go into that hole because that would just undo it. So you're going to do 6 single crochets down that chain. You put your hook in, turn it a little bit, pull it so you have 2 on the hook. See how I use the shaft? That's why when you have a 6-inch hook, it makes it challenging. Your hand is hanging off here. Then also, when you're crocheting, to give it a nice even look on your work, I'm going to give you a little bit more detail like you're attending one of my classes. So try to work on top of it, instead of like up here or down like this or up like that. Try to work it along and bring it up each time because it will get tighter and tighter and tighter if you don't. So I stop partway through the instructions. So you go into that hole, cross over the material, pull it through. You've got 2, 1, 2, cross over from there and pull the back 2 off. There's 1 single crochet completed. Let's do it again. You go into the next hole. See, this was the hole you were in. You're going into the next hole. Go in, kind of curve your hook a little bit, pull it off. You've got 2, 1, 2, cross over and pull the back 2 off. That's a second single crochet. I'm not going to do this through the whole thing, but I am going to do it on this strip. Then you'll just have to watch this part again if you need to. Put your hook in, third time, grab your material, cross over, pull the back 2 off. That's 3. Let's see, how did I do that? Okay. 4. 5. 6. This is the 6th one. Okay, now you can see how it's kind of starting to form. See how I've got a stitch marker here marking that initial place. So that gives me my indication of that I'm going to be now working on the next one. So you're going to do 6 chain stitches. The first one we did 7 chain stitches. This one, when we're going to go up, we're going to do 6 chain stitches up. So this was 7 chain stitches up, 6 single crochets down, and 6 chain stitches up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now we're going to come back down just like we did over there, and we're on the second little, part of that tidbit of the bone. Okay, so we're not in that stitch. We don't want to go back in there, so we're going to do single crochets down. You can just watch me, and I'm going to move a little faster and not talk about it the whole time. Now I'm going to tell you that I had to do a few of these, several I pulled out and started again. So, you know, don't be hard on yourself. This is just the part of the process. It takes a little bit of practice. See how I'm trying to stay above it, you know, on it to keep it going? Okay, so we're here. Let's see what it looks like where we're at. Okay, so we're kind of right in line with that. We're going to go, actually we're going to go one more. There we go. Now we're going to join up with the center part of the bone. Okay, so I'm not going in here, I'm going in where I put that, you know, stitch markers, and we're just going to do single crochets down to the other end. Okay, so just, I'm going to try to move quickly so I don't bore you too much. I will be making some transitions, and I won't show you all those where I just continue to crochet on, but I'm going to do this to the end and then get around those other. You see how I use that whole shaft? And it really makes it so much more comfortable on your hand. You see how I'm using the whole hook? Makes a world of difference. Especially if you have any issues with your hands or wrists or forearms. And also if you're really tense, that's another issue. Or you just crochet a lot, or you crochet very tight. You need to relax. This is supposed to be enjoyable. Sometimes I wonder if people find it enjoyable, why they're so stressed about it instead of enjoying it. But you know, we're all different of what makes us happy. So here we are almost to the end. What I like to do, you do not have to do it. I've done it both ways, but I'm going to see if it's going to work this time. I use this right here. This looks like the last stitch. I like going in here as my last stitch. Okay. I'll get some emails telling me from great crocheters that their opinions on that, and that's fine. I'm not a crocheter by nature. I'm just a rag rug maker, and I'm an educator. Okay, this is your last stitch here, so you're going to go ahead and use another stitch marker, okay, to show that it's the last place there. Now you're going to do the same thing you did on the other end. You're going to do seven chain stitches to make the first part of the bone. Chain stitches, yes. Don't want to misspeak. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't have to count through the whole thing, but you do on the first part. Okay, so once you get this first part going, you will be able to not necessarily be counting the whole time. So don't get discouraged. I hate counting. I'm not a big counter either. In fact, Locke kept on talking to me, and I said, shh, 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 shh. I can't. I had to keep on pulling it out because I couldn't keep up, and I had to start again. I didn't know where I was. So anyways, let's go back. We're going to go 6 down, just like we did on the first one. 7 chain stitches, 6 single crochets. If for some reason it doesn't work out, just add the extra one or something and do better next time and try it again next time. Or stressing yourself and trying to make it perfect, only you're the one who's going to think it's perfect, and it's never going to be really perfect anyways. These are rag rugs, so just trying to move it quickly to get you down to where you were. Okay. All right. Let me see where I am. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Gets me down to just above where I put my stitch marker. And then my sister gave me this little basket that I'm using, this little bowl to help, which is so sweet. We're going to do the other end, and then I'm going to show you how to incorporate that. So you're going to go back up. See, it's kind of looking kind of wobbly here, but you've got it here. You're going to go back up and do 6 chain stitches now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So now you're going to come back down and meet up with the center of the bone. Again, these are single crochets you're back to now. Okay. Once I get down to the center and connected it, I'll switch over and kind of move it along so you don't have to watch for how to get around the tips. We're going to go around the tips of the thing twice, the tips of your bone, so you know how to add stitches to keep it uniformed, and also where you're going to decrease and whatnot. So those are things that we're going to be covering. Okay. Oh, gotta pull it off. Okay, so here we are. See? There you go. And now you're going to go in to this hole and do a single crochet. Leave your tail out. Do a single crochet into that hole. You need to make that firm enough there so you don't, that hole isn't quite so obvious. It won't be as obvious. Okay, so in a second we'll come back, and I will then go ahead and show you how to proceed on. Okay, so my tail was longer than, because I've made it in the past, longer than I wanted it to be, so I snipped it off. So there, while you weren't watching me, I snipped that off. And we're going to show you how to hide the tail. There's more than one way. You hide it your way. I'm just going to show you one way to hide it without making it too bulky. So you're going to crochet all the way down here, single crochets. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a couple stitches and then come back with you. So you're going to go into all those holes and do single crochets where you're going to lay your tail right along, which is something that a lot of crocheters do. Okay, they might do it just a little bit different. So now you're going to do single crochets, keeping that tail in there. Okay, oops. Just gonna grab it again. Once that material's gone, then it'll be easier. So you continue on all the way, and you're going to meet me down here on this tip.